Góðan daginn. So, beginning. Yes, let's start with the beginning. My name is Gunnhildur. I'm an Icelander, live in Iceland, and this is my podcast, The Project Pile, because I have projects and they are piles. I, on this channel, mainly talk about yarn, about knitting, crocheting, anything yarn related, anything fiber related, when I learn anything about it, because that's fun. I do also chat quite a bit about the weather, because I am a stereotypical middle-aged Icelander and I just like talking about the weather. That means I always have something to talk about. Also, for the majority of 2021, I've been yapping on about the current volcanic eruption here in Iceland, which, by the way, someone's still ongoing. It's been having its like bubbly bursty thingy. It's still active. It was really slow. Like we thought it was gonna be done. 2 weeks ago, last week, something like that. And then suddenly it's just like, nah, still going. On that note, there may have been some of you who are potentially stressing out about Askja. I actually read it. Listen, it's somewhat hilarious. It is somewhat funny, but at the same time, it's like, guys. So, because Iceland is Iceland, and when one thing starts, doing its thing, another part of the system is gonna go, oh, it's time to wake up. Askja is a little bit closer to me. I live in the eastern part of Iceland, and Askja is one of the main volcanoes of Iceland. She is the reason why back in, oh, what was it? Was it around 1980s? Over 100 years ago, over 100 years ago, Askja erupted, and she blew a lot of ash over my area, over the entirety of the eastern region, which caused a lot of, basically, an exodus of people moving from here and other parts of Iceland also, and moving over to the West world, over to America and Canada, and also to Brazil. Hopefully she's not gonna do that this time, or at least this time we're not gonna experience another exodus, because but I'm gonna say it's a little bit hilarious at the same time, because so the Icelandic Met Office, they do everything when it comes to both weather forecast, and everything to do with volcanic eruptions, like everything, every single time there's an earthquake, like all the monitoring, all the fun stuff. And I mean, they do the actual legwork. I'm trying to find a nice way of pitching it, but so there's a lot of interest in volcanic activity here in Iceland, and in other countries, because our planet is an exceedingly interesting place to be. The only place to be currently, but she is extremely interesting. Every time she moves, it's just like. But there are some people who, instead of maybe pay attention to the people doing the scientific research and actually putting it in letters and essays and that kind of stuff, and put it out there for you to read, maybe, or at least if you're gonna go into the raw data, maybe check beforehand if it's an exercise. Okay, maybe I shouldn't be laughing, but I read yesterday about a very interesting phenomena, particularly on some Facebook groups. There are Facebook groups that pay attention to volcanic activity, and apparently someone just went in the raw data that the Met Office and the science thingy, I'm trying to think of the words, cannot remember what it is, the raw data that they are using to progress information, and according to the data as they read it, Askja was erupting. I can tell you, Askja was not and is not erupting. What they were doing was an exercise in preparation of the volcano going. You know what? I'm gonna wake up now. Exasperated by the fact that everywhere on their page, on the Icelandic Met Office page, they had pictures. Even the picture they were using on the Facebook group. They had a picture that, you know, so the thing about this picture, as I'm trying to talk about without laughing or sighing deeply, the dears, they even used the picture to show that Askja was marked in as red, as active, like, you know, because of air control for airplanes, that, you know, they have this map and this system to warn planes not to come near if there's a volcanic eruption, because we don't want people to fall out of the air. They used the picture, apparently from the Met Office. How they managed to not see the 5 bright red repeats of the word exercise. They cannot have been so excited about Askja erupting that they forgot to use their English and read the exercise. Like, they must have found another picture. Like, you cannot have been so excited about another eruption here that you forgot to read the text. That's basically said it wasn't. I don't know. But, you know, the Met Office actually had to go into Facebook and be like, hey, no, there's not an eruption. That was an exercise. Like, we told you. So apparently there are people who just go into raw data and interpreting everything as they will, forgetting the fact that it's the Met Office that controls the data. So when we are having an exercise in how to react to Askja or any other volcano erupting, do we need to put an international announcement like, heads up, we're doing an exercise, it's the same as everyone else, when something is happening in another country, but we have to tell you, so that you don't go all over Facebook and all over social media being like, yo, Iceland is burning with another roll. I don't want to be mean to people, but dear Lord. Maybe, here's a thought. Have a chat with us before you decide to do that. That's like, the joke's on you, honey. I can fully comprehend why the interest is there. Like, volcanoes are super interesting. They are the lifeblood of the planet. They are the driving force. They are the pulse. They are the heart. They are the veins. They are the planet talking. But maybe talk to the locals. Just a thought. Maybe don't just deep dive into the raw data and think that you have all the answers, because the raw data doesn't tell half the story. Ugh. So I'm not crying. Now this rant is exasperated by the fact that I am I'm a little, like, I'm not unable to sleep. I'm perfectly capable of sleeping. I'm just not sleeping fully. Or rather, I went from a complete deep sleep this morning to bam, awake. Also had a weird dream. Really weird dream. It was funny though. It was a little bit like watching a movie. A really weird movie. It kind of felt like something from the, like, you know, like rom-coms, the old rom-coms, kind of in that style, but it wasn't a rom-com. Like, it was a bit weird. But yeah, I went from an absolute deep sleep to completely awake around about 6 this morning. It's now 20 past 8 because I couldn't go back to sleep. On top of that, I went to sleep just after midnight, and before 1 o'clock, I do know that, but after midnight, and I'm like, usually when that is, if that happens, I am able to sleep at least to 8. Not this morning though. And it's not because my brain was like overactive or anything. It's just like didn't want to sleep. So I actually had a chat with my mother about this just now. And she said, well, I'm having the same issue. And this happens every autumn. So yeah, I completely forgot. So the autumn equinox is next Wednesday on the 22nd of September. The thing about the autumn equinox is that how the sun is like, how the planet and the entire sun system, just how it works. So the planet is like doing the turny thingy between summer and winter. Every autumn and every spring there is the equinox, and the days before and after that, there's a couple of days, and I keep forgetting every year. I don't know how. I'm 36 years old. I should be able to remember this. I've only been on this planet for nearly 4 decades, but no, I can't remember because of the light change, like the strength, the basically how it hits. It literally hits differently, and that kind of messes with the brain. It messes with how we are perceiving the light. So our brain is basically it doesn't know how to handle the light change. Like, we've only been here 1,000 years. You'd think that this little knocking would be learning this thing, but no, apparently that takes a longer time. Wish evolution was a little bit faster, but basically the light means that the change in lighting means that sleep is gonna be weird for a couple of days, and then this lizard brain is gonna figure out what is going on and adapt every year. This means, of course, it's going to be obviously getting darker. But I've been keeping up on my D3 vitamins, and I've also been taking calcium and magnesium. D3 and magnesium is specifically to help with the light changing. Because being this high up in the Arctic Circle means I am at bigger risk at what do you call it in English? Seasonal depression. I think that's the word. It's not as fun as the Icelandic word, okay? Skamdegi means short day. Þunglyndi, depression. It literally means depression caused by the short day. Short day depression. Kind of lyrical, but it is caused by less light. This is where the D3 comes in. The D3 vitamins. I keep saying French medication. It's not. D3, because lesser sunlight. It is an extremely important vitamin that we produce with our skin via the sun. But when you have less sun, you get less vitamin D3 and less vitamin D basically. And vitamin D is kind of important for your mental stability. And the magnesium does help with I think it's both the intake of the vitamin D. I might be wrong. I'm trying to remember things, and I'm just like, nope. Let's see. It does also have to do with the nervous system. I should know this. I don't. It's 8 in the morning. I'm operating on lesser sleep, and I'm like, hey. So that's the weather. That's the seasonal change. That's the eruption that is and the eruption that isn't. Hopefully full. Well, Ashke is a little bit overdue. But then again, so is Hekla. And Kafla is. also Bagalapunka was, you know, being a little bit like a giant. But hey, that's Iceland. That's like, who's next? As for the knitting, all that, I didn't do any this week. I was gonna be so productive this week. I didn't. I think I've hit a bit of a mental roadblock because the skirt wasn't going as easily as it should have been. So my brain just goes, and that's okay. I'm not gonna struggle with it because I know what happened last time. Last time, I let a project just hamper me. I didn't touch my knitting needles for over a decade, and I'm not gonna let that happen again. I'm not gonna let one single pattern defeat me. There's just too much other things to work on when I'm ready for it. So I'm just on apparently a little bit of time period where my brain is just like, nah, just nah. But as I said, that's okay. I will pick it up when I'm ready, and that will probably be some evening when I'm just like doing something else, and I'm just gonna pick it up and go where I'm going. But as for the skirt, I'm probably going to be very, very carefully, very slowly, and that's maybe the mental block. I'm thinking, yes, to very, very carefully and very, very slowly go back at every single stitch. Just very, very carefully, because Pletilope is tricky and I don't want to break it. Because it's so easy to splice back together. You literally just use, you know, a little bit of spit as a bonding agent, like, and then you just like, you kind of like comb it together. It takes a little couple of minutes maybe, but because of how the wool is based on tog and thel, it's just, that's the wonderful thing about Icelandic wool. You can reattach it to itself. So I just need to do that at some point where I am maybe not thinking too much. That will happen. I know how my brain works. That will happen. As for other things, I actually rediscovered my course. I'm so pretty. So, Sanskan course, which I have not seen anywhere. Like, this just appeared, what, like a year, no, longer, like 2 years ago? All over the place. I love this yarn. It is wonderful. It is so soft. It is Norwegian. It's 62% baby alpaca, 9% wool, and 29% nylon. It is so soft. I love working with this. I have some what do you call it? Like, what do you call it? Like neck covers that I made with course because it is so soft and warm and really holds well against the weather. But you know, this yarn, it appeared everywhere. It was everywhere, and then suddenly just nowhere. I don't understand. Like, I like this yarn. So I have these 3 skeins. Dusty. And I have a pattern of a hat in one of my books that I really, really want to make because it has like, it has a little bit different of pattern than what I'm used to. I'm used to the geometric patterns of the Icelandic lopapeysa, of the traditional Icelandic, you know, pattern making. But this is I can't remember where the book is. It has like little splatses, kind of like a cow pattern, and it does use course, and I'm like, it's a hat. I'm gonna need a hat for this winter, so you do that. Another thing that I need to get started on, I still haven't started on my the Gang Studio, the glass. I did make another version of ice yarns, Merino Chunky, which is a yarn that I love. Maybe, you know, thinking back, I should have sized up in that, because, you know, it's quite a different yarn, but I really wanted to work with it, and I so love it. I love that yarn. But with that pattern, I maybe should have sized up, because it is a very thick yarn and it's completely different from this yarn. But it's so warm. But I should have sized up at least one, if not two sizes. Then it would have been perfect. I should remember that if I do that again. But the Glasso originally uses Drops Melody, and it's this nice fluffy yarn. It's so adorable and I love it. Let's see. This is 71% alpaca, 25% wool, and 4% polyamide. And if I remember correctly, you hold I'm trying to remember. You hold either 2 or 3 strands together. I think you hold 3. Yeah. And you know, the recommended needle and hook size is 7mm. OUS 10 3/4. Like, so I need to get going on doing this sweater, because look at the colors that I picked. These are such autumn colors. I need to get this sweater started so I can wear it. Also because I'm trying to remember, because the pattern is online. It's on Gowning Studio. Drops Design. And it was such a fun pattern. It was so easy. It's the first time that I've done a raglan sleeve sweater working from the top down. With the way that I was taught to knit sweaters, or pullovers or anything like that, I've always started from the bottom up. So starting from the top down is really, really different. But this pattern is so nice and easy. So I kind of want to get started on that. I mean, it's not like I don't have a million other patterns that, you know, projects that need to be working on, but I want to start in this one now. I'm jumping ship. But the good thing about resting your projects is that you do have a little bit more time to, you know, think about it. So this gorgeous will be big, juicy, slouchy, oversized pullover from this gorgeous pastel that's still not it's still not in stock. I keep checking the Ice Yarns website. This is still not in stock. I want more. Dang it. But yeah, I've been resting this. And always in the back of my mind trying to figure out how I'm gonna do the sleeves. I think I finally have a shape. And that's because on Thursday night, because my sleeping issues were starting, you know, last week. Let's not talk about it. But Thursday night I was going to go check my closet to find something to wear on Friday to work, and it was a little bit hard finding anything in my closet because all my summer clothes were first and foremost, and it's not warm enough anymore for you know, soft, sweet tops and shorts and fine skirts. So I literally pulled everything out of my closet and rearranged it. So all the summer clothes, like they were within reach, because that's how I like to have my closet for some reason. Because sometimes in the winter it's like, you know what, I want to wear this summer thing. So they're at the bottom, and then I took back my more autumnly winter clothes like this interesting item that I got off of everything for £5. This is one of my first purchases actually. It's a very, very nice, skirt, but at the first washing it did this shearing thing, and first wash, and originally I was like, I don't like that. It doesn't look nice enough, blah blah. But it's so comfortable. Like, this is so nice to just throw on, just wear around the house. But yeah, I was rearranging my closet to be able to find like my sweaters because it's getting cold, and because I do have some really, really nice pullovers from Shein that I've had for some years. Because I may buy what others would call fast fashion, but I don't use it as fast fashion. If I buy something, I'm gonna be wearing it until it falls apart. Even though it doesn't maybe look the nicest, but it's comfy. And this is kind of funny with these pullovers because, well, first off, Shein, and the inspiration for this pullover is a pullover on Shein. Which admittedly, if I had bought that, I would have been wearing it by now, but it wouldn't be as nice because it is made from acrylic, and I have nothing against acrylic, but I had this lovely, lovely yarn from Ice Yarns just sitting and waiting and hoping to be used, and I'm like, you are the right color, because the colors absolutely match the colors on the sweater on Shein, and I have the yarn, I have the knitting needles, and it's really simple construction. I definitely made it like probably bigger than the one on Shein, so that actually does make me happy. But I was always I didn't really know how to do the sleeves until I rediscovered the two pretty little pullovers in my closet, because they have a similar construction. They are basically two rectangles with short little sleeves. And I finally realized where I was getting these ideas for this one. I was literally thinking, without thinking about it, about the sweaters that I already had, because both of them have these nice little short sleeves that are like white. Like one of them has a like wider arm opening, like in the front, like so it hangs a little bit, and it's really nice. And the other one that I do like quite a bit better, it has a long ribbing. It's a little bit tight around the arm, so it sits comfortable on your wrist, and then it billows out, and it's short. And it's exactly what I was thinking about that I wanted to make with this one. And I'm like, well, my brain is just a recycle bin, isn't it? Love it. So I do have, this is so funny. I see this pastel color rainbow lovely pullover on Shein, and I'm like, I want that, but I don't want to buy it. So I'm using an inspiration from the webpage of one sweater, and I'm actually thinking about two sweaters that I already have in my closet for the sleeves. So yeah, this has been me this weekend. Not doing much in the way of knitting, but that's just how it is right now. I know I will be back to knitting later on, but I'm not gonna stress it. I know what happens when I stress about it. I will lock it out, and I don't want to lock it out, so I'm just gonna live in the moment, and it will come back. I know how my brain works. But yeah, this has been me this weekend. I'm just loving life. Life is beautiful. Hopefully, Ashka will not be erupting this time next weekend. Hopefully. You can never tell with volcanoes. So yeah, I will thank you for sticking with me to the end, and I will see you next weekend. Okay, take care. I'll see you. Bless, bless.